Good afternoon, guys. This is John with Covenant Coatings 323, Residential Painting 101. So, what do the numbers on a spray tip represent? What are they? And what size tips should you use for your project? I'm going to try to answer that question in this quick little video. Nothing too in-depth, just the basics. So the first number, let's say you have a 208 or a 211 or a 413, 415. The first number, you multiply that number by 2, and that's how wide that your fan is going to be in inches when you're 1 foot away from your surface. Okay, so when I spray exteriors, I like to use a 211. I'm in Texas, so there's not a lot of huge laps of siding. It's mainly soffit and fascia. Siding is something different. I like to use like a 412, 413. But that's the first number, right? If I'm doing cat cabinets, I always use the first number being 2, because you're looking for fine finish stuff. Same for doors, trim, things like that, where you don't need a huge fan, right? The second number is the size of your orifice by the thousandths of an inch. Okay, so if you have a 208 tip, that's 0.008 of an inch is how big your orifice is going to be. Anything under 210 or at 210 or under, or 10 or under, as far as your second number, is typically for fine finishes. Guys, that's my daughter in the background. Paisley. Sorry about that. So look, I typically use we use a 208 tip to do cabinets, trim, doors, things like that. I use a 211 or a 212 for soffit and fascia because my orifice is bigger. I can put more product out. It's a thicker paint than the urethanes that we use for trim and doors now. If you're spraying block filler, you use, your fan could be 6 and 618. They have 620s, I think. You use a lot. We're a residential painting company. I use block filler whenever we're going to do brick, but it's mainly, just regular latex-based paints for walls, ceilings, and exteriors, urethanes for trim and doors, oil primers. So 211, 212 for soffit and fascia, 208, 210 tops for trim, doors, cabinets, things like that. I use around a 413 to do like garage doors, to do big things of siding, or like a 513, 512, 515. I use those for like interior walls, interior ceilings. I use a bigger fan and a bigger orifice to get more product out. A lot of the latex-based paints, even the higher qualities, they're pretty thick. Guys, Texas, I think for the most part, is a Graco state. I like Titan and Graco. I love them both. You know what I mean? I know it drives painters crazy, but the Titan tips are so much cheaper, and they're still great. They're really great. They're great tips too. So, whatever your brand is, just make sure your tip is not blown out and it's working properly. Let me know in the comments what size tips that you use for your projects. Every painter's different. There's more than one way to the top of a mountain, although I do think there's the most productive way to get there, and I have my own tips that I prefer. But I would be interested to hear what y'all's thoughts are. Any other questions about spray tips or anything like that, please let me know. I will do a more in-depth video about this topic at a later date. God bless, guys, and Jesus loves you.